Hi there, this is Mr. Clapp, and I wanted to introduce you and welcome you to our class for this year. Mr. Kochi and I will be teaching your students in honors biology and biology. Here's Mr. Kochi right here. And we're going to go ahead and get you introduced to honors biology and biology. So welcome. To begin with, there we go. Sorry about that. To begin with, my background, I have a BS in wildlife biology from UC Davis and a master's from UNR in Ed Psych. I've been teaching, this is my 22nd year teaching and my 12th year here at Reed. I spent 10 years in middle school, 5 at DePauli and 5 at O'Brien before that. I'm also our girls wrestling head coach. If you have questions about that, I always love answering those. Mr. Kochi.
Hi, my name is Roger Kochi. I am a student teacher out in my last semester at UNR. I am working on getting my BS in biology and education. I went to Reno High, graduated in 2016, and I was raised here in Reno, Nevada.
All right, I'm really excited to have Mr. Kochi here. He's got real good energy. Our course synopsis, we follow the next generation science standards as well as the scope and sequence dictated by Washoe County. And so for the most part, we're going to start our year, you've probably heard a little bit about it, with an orientation to the technology we have. Nearly everything in this class is turned in digitally on Canvas, which you may or may not be familiar with. Many students move on to college and do the same thing, and so we want to get them ready. So we've really been orienting them to how to turn in assignments digitally, how to record videos, and things we'll be using throughout the semester. We've also spent some time recently talking about the nature of science. You may be familiar with the Pendulum Lab that we're finishing up this week, but that's to kind of get them to understand the scientific process as we launch into sort of the more traditional biology curriculum. From here, we'll move on. Mr. Kochi will spend a good bit of time talking about ecology over the next month and a half. From there, we'll move into energy and cell processes like photosynthesis and cellular respiration. That kind of gets us to the end of the semester. When we come back in January, we start out by talking about cell processes like transcription and translation, how cells copy themselves. From there, we move on to genetics, then evolution, and finally, we finish the year with a discussion of human impact. It's a fun year, really enjoy it. I kind of like the second semester, but they're both a lot of fun. If you want to get a hold of Mr. Kochi or me, the easiest way is probably email. We certainly encourage your students to reach out to us first. If you have a young honors student, I think it's a good idea for them to be the ones doing a lot of their communication with their teachers. At the same time, if you feel like your needs aren't getting met, you're more than welcome to email us, and we can try and figure out what we need to do to get your student back on track or get whatever concern you have addressed. As far as your students getting extra help, Mr. Kochi and I are usually here by 7:15 in the morning, and we're also available nearly every lunch. So if they need extra help, they can come in at lunch, come in before school, and get it in person. I think it's one of the best ways to get extra help if they need it, especially if they're absent. Try to keep the school year pretty interesting, and one of the best ways to do that is some of our projects. We just finished up a pendulum lab, like I said, to do nature of science techniques. From there, it'll be a little bit of a gap. We'll go outside a bit in ecology, do some recordings of PowerPoints, but our next real big projects will be our stop motion cell processes project, where we model photosynthesis and cellular respiration, as well as DNA transcription and translation. So be looking forward to checking those out. As we come back a little bit later, around Thanksgiving break, a little bit before that, we'll do a heart rate lab where we learn more about cell processes and energy, and again, the scientific process. From there, we move on to actually bake sourdough on a Zoom call. You should get involved in that, and we apologize in advance for the mess that your kid will make in your kitchen. In the spring, we'll move on and we'll start talking about genetics, and as we do that, we'll be actually breeding axolotl salamanders. We have some of our adults in our classroom right now. We'll breed them, we'll get babies, we'll talk about how they do and don't look like their parents. When we get to our evolution lab, our evolution unit, we'll be reading this creative nonfiction book, Beak of the Finch, and that's true only in our honors classes. And towards the end of the year, we'll finish up, again, only in honors with a biomimicry engineering project. But that's pretty much the gist of the year. I think it's a good year. I really like some of that next semester stuff, and I also do like teaching That's sourdough bread. I think it's a lot of fun. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. But one last thing I'll add in terms of work, if you want to be on top of your students, nearly everything in this class is due on Sunday nights, with very few exceptions. When we don't have school on Monday, we make it due Monday. And if the student doesn't turn stuff in on Canvas by Sunday night, they can get 75% credit if they turn it in that first day back to school. And then after that, it's half credit from there through the rest of the semester. So they can turn in work all semester, but it's reduced credit after those first couple days. Thank you so much. Hope all is well. If you have questions, let us know. Thank you.